Texas Tech continues to add to their 2025-2026 men's basketball roster via the transfer portal, this time in the addition of Luke Bamgboye. In today's video, we'll look at the current 2025-2026 roster and discuss where the strengths are, where the weaknesses are, and what Texas Tech needs to address in the portal moving forward. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. Appreciate y'all tuning in to all the videos here on the channel. It has been the most successful 6 weeks in this, channel's history, and we appreciate each and every one of y'all that tuned in. We had 50,000 returning viewers. That means you've watched at least 2 videos here on the channel this month. Greatly appreciate y'all tuning in. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. Those are the 3 easiest steps to help support this channel that produces 100% free Texas Tech content. All right, Luke Bamgboye committed last night at the time of this recording. It is Friday, April 25th. So we're going to look at the roster as it stands after his commitment, okay? You can see it on your screen right now. This is how things stand for Texas Tech as of Friday, April 25th, in terms of what you have from a depth chart perspective, okay? So you see it, Luke Bamgboye. I have him as the starting center. Is he going to start? I don't know. But just for exercise purposes here, we're going to say that this is what Texas Tech starting 5 would be right now. Again, it's April 25th. We're a few months away from tip-off out in the 806. But you get Christian Anderson Jr. back. He will be one of your starting guards. You've got Tyeree Bryan right now as your starting shooting guard. LeJuan Watts will be in your starting lineup, whether that's at the small forward position, a.k.a. the 3, or whether that's at the 4 with JT moving to the 5, who I have, JT at the 4 right now with Luke Bamgboye at the center spot. You see the other pieces you have on this team, most notably, you have Donovan Atwell, the UNC Greensboro sniper transfer. You've got Josiah Moseley, the Villanova transfer, right? You've got Nolan Groves, the Minnesota High School Boys Gatorade Player of the Year for this past season, where he averaged 30+. Now he's unranked, but there's been some discussion that maybe he has a role. I don't know what that looks like, but as it stands right now, this is the projected starting 5, in my opinion, and every other name on the Texas Tech roster. You see the front court, you get your Fetty replacement and Luke Bamgboye. I love the addition. I think he's actually better than Fetty. Don't shoot the messenger on that front, but I think he presents more offensive capabilities. He's a better shot blocker. The thing where I think Luke Bamgboye needs to get better, where Fetty was actually pretty damn good, and people aren't going to like it when I say this, at least the Fetty haters out there, rebounding. I thought Fetty was a pretty good rebounder last year in a lot of situations. So we'll bring this back up in terms of the depth chart and kind of just the roster where it stands right now for Texas Tech. But I think it's really clear what the Red Raiders need to prioritize in the transfer portal as it stands right now. And now they could go the high school route, maybe the international route as well, but let's just strictly talk about the portal overall. I think the one primary need that Texas Tech currently has on this roster after the addition of Luke Bamgboye and really solidifying their front court, at least in my opinion, maybe they add another piece that's more, in that Marial Akuentok range in terms of a depth piece. But I think that they like LeJuan Watts and his versatility in terms of being that quote-unquote 4th guy in the front court. I think he could be, the small forward guy, or he could be the, power forward, depending on if you want to play small ball. I digress. The one spot I think Texas Tech has to address in the transfer portal, or the simple addition to this roster, is they have to go get another primary ball handler with experience. I love Christian Anderson. I think he is a guy that can lead you as the lead guard or the lead primary ball handler for this team. That being said, he's going to need some help at some point, right? And you just don't have a guy on this roster right now with any type of experience being a lead guard in college basketball. You just don't, right? Like Jazz Henderson didn't play last year. He redshirted, right? Then you go think about it from the standpoint of Nolan Groves. We already talked about it. He's a high school kid coming in, right? Those are the only other 2 options in terms of the traditional primary ball handler sense, right? You have to go add one if you're Texas Tech. And now Texas Tech, to their credit, they've done a pretty damn good job of adding a primary ball handler late in the process the 2 years Grant McCasland has been the Red Raider head coach. You think about it from year number 1, where they added Joe Toussaint in June, right? Joe Toussaint, pretty damn good guard in the Big 12. Then you think about it from last year's perspective. They went out and added this guy. I don't know if you've heard of him, Christian Anderson Jr. Yeah, they added him in late May. Okay, so is it always going to work out like that? No. And obviously Texas Tech has a clear vision here, and they have deserved and, well, more so earned the right for you to trust them in terms of building a roster, because year after year, literally, Grant McCasland has done a phenomenal job and increased the talent level on this team. And I think he's done so going into this season as well, in terms of if they land, an impactful primary ball handler. And I have no reason to think that they won't, right? I think that Texas Tech is going to be even or maybe even slightly above the 2024-2025 roster. That being said, I think overall, maybe you go out and add a big, maybe. But I think realistically, what you're aiming for right now in terms of the top priority for Texas Tech in the portal is another primary ball handler, the likes of, you're hoping Elijah Hawkins. I know somebody's hoping for me to say this. I would be pretty surprised if that ruling went through, okay? Maybe I'm in the minority there, but the fifth-year ruling with the House settlement, and you see Elijah Hawkins enter the portal, and you're thinking to yourself, why is he doing that? It's a leverage play just so he doesn't get stuck and only have one school he can go back to, and maybe Texas Tech has already filled the role, right, in terms of they don't know if it's going to be, approved or not, or accepted, this new House ruling, which would allow 5 years of eligibility. But the issue is, would it allow 5 years of eligibility starting this year with previous classes, or would it be starting this year moving forward, if that makes sense? So Elijah did it from a leverage standpoint. I understand it, just in case Texas Tech does add another primary ball handler if the ruling does get approved. That being said, I don't think it probably does get approved in terms of the 5-year eligibility backdating, almost grandfathering in these players. I don't think it happens. Maybe I'm wrong. I would be very happy to have Elijah Hawkins back in the 806. Don't get me wrong, but Texas Tech, they're linked to some European guys, most notably someone in Australia. They're also being linked to a couple of guards in the portal right now. We'll see where that goes, but you can tell that they have been hyper fixated now with Luke Bamgboye on board. Again, the Fetty replacement in the front court. In fact, let's go ahead and get the depth chart back on the screen for you right here. And I'll post this on Twitter. You can follow me at RCMB323. I'll post this in terms of the, depth chart right now. Again, it's April 25th at the time of this recording. So obviously things can change. But you have the Big 12 Player of the Year coming back. Feel damn good about that. Arguably the best sophomore guard in the Big 12 coming back. You went out and added a top 25 player in the portal in LeJuan Watts. You added 2 of the best shooters and better defenders in this portal cycle in terms of Tyeree Bryan from Santa Clara and Donovan Atwell from UNC Greensboro, both guys that shoot the lights out of it and are 85th percentile on synergy or higher on the defensive end. So you like where you're at right now. And you got some pieces you feel good about in terms of, I like Josiah Moseley. I think Leon Horner can play a little bit more. Marial Akuentok, I think, is that perfect third big on a roster, maybe even fourth big, considering where LeJuan Watts could play moving forward. But overall, you have to feel good about this roster if you're a Texas Tech fan. I think even just right now, this is easily, and I mean easily, a top 10 roster in college basketball. And I think Luke Bamgboye probably pushes you closer to that top 8 range, right? Top 7 range. In that kind of situation, Texas Tech is going to be, during the preseason, one of the top 3 teams in the Big 12. Preseason rankings, I get it, mean absolutely nothing. But if you look at this depth chart right now and you think Texas Tech has done a bad job in the portal, I hate to break it to you, you simply don't know ball. Period. End of story. That is a good roster. In fact, it's closer to great in terms of what Texas Tech has done. You don't keep the Big 12 Player of the Year in JT Toppin and Christian Anderson and go out and add a guy in LeJuan Watts that's a top 25 player in the portal, go out and get 2 active wings that shoot the absolute you-know-what out of it and play great defense on the other end, and go out and get arguably one of the most athletic bigs in the portal in Luke Bamgboye and complain about what Texas Tech is doing. Stop it. This roster is really good, and it's only going to improve because Texas Tech is not done. Okay, they have some more scholarships available. They're going to go out and use some of them, maybe not all of them. They may leave one or two and give them to the likes of, a Jack Francis or a Jazz Henderson. But this roster is really damn good, people, and it's only going to get better. That's where it stands right now on Friday, April 25th. All right, appreciate y'all tuning in. As always, to the content, if you haven't already, one more time, I promise, just like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell if you enjoy the 100% free content surrounding your Red Raiders here on the channel, whether it's on the gridiron or the hardwood or in the portal. We've got you covered right here on the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube, over 12,100 strong. Appreciate each and every one of you, as always. And as always, I'm RC Maxfield reminding you to stay safe and Rec 'em Tech.